To understand my story, to understand the story behind Foodtech Simplified, we have to go back in time, like 10 years back in time. So in 2011, I remember that there was one instant that I still remember. And usually me and my mother used to go to parents-teachers meeting. You know, there's the kind of meeting where parents are meeting with the teachers and teachers are giving a brief about the student, that how the student is performing. And I remember that we went to the physics teacher. The thing is, although I was interested in physics, I was interested in computer science, but for some reason I was not performing in these specific subjects. I wasn't able to understand them properly, and I was just getting the passing grade. My mother asked physics teacher that, so how is he performing, and he just replied that जितना कर पा रहे हैं उतना कर लीजिए, बाकी तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. So basically, he kind of had a disappointed tone. He didn't really believe that I would be able to do something because he thought that I was mediocre. I was getting average grades in college, so I wouldn't be able to do anything with the physics subject especially. And that was the kind of instance that made me believe that okay, maybe I'm mediocre, maybe I'm average. Because the thing is, if you tell a 16-year-old boy that for a 16-year-old boy, usually the parents and teachers are his idol. And I thought that okay, if he's saying, because he's experienced and he has a lot of understanding of physics, so of course he would be right. And 16-year-old boy doesn't have that kind of maturity to understand that he may or may not be right. I mean, I could be having potential, but I believed him. I thought that okay, maybe I'm mediocre, and that's the kind of mindset I had in class 11th and 12th, and I couldn't really perform for some reason. I was my grade in class 12th was somewhere around 72%, and although you could say that that's a decent grade, but personally for me, I feel that is very low, and I have the potential to go way beyond 90%. I was a pretty confused child. I mean, sometimes I wanted to be a software engineer, sometimes I wanted to be an author, sometimes I wanted to be a teacher. There were different things I wanted to be. Sometimes I just wanted to, make some drawings or sketches. But the thing is, I finally decided that I want to go for food technology. I used to watch the Foodtech show on History TV and Food Factory on Discovery, and these shows really fascinated me. These shows really made me feel that okay, there's something interesting about food, something behind the scenes that is going on, and I wanted to know that. I wanted to know more about that. So I came across this domain. I came across this college, NIFTM, National Institute of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management. This was one of the best colleges back then. It still is one of the best colleges for food technology, and I thought okay, I'm gonna go for this college. I'm gonna prepare for this college. The thing is, I figured that out late in, I think, January or February 2013, and I didn't prepare for JEE mains. And I didn't qualify for JEE mains, and that is why I couldn't get admission into NIFTM. I decided that I will be dropping an year and I will be preparing for JEE mains so that I can get into NIFTM. So I dropped a year. Now, the thing is that there's a difference between liking the idea of success and then there's actually working for success, actually putting in the work. And back in 2013 and 2012-13, I was a kind of guy who kind of liked the idea of success, but I wasn't really putting in the efforts. Also, I didn't know what is the right methodology to study. I mean, YouTube still existed way back then, and but I didn't really know how to figure out how to study properly, and I still kind of had a mindset that I am mediocre, I'm average, and I won't be able to do things. Somewhere deep down, I believe that I actually don't deserve success, and that is the reason that blocked me from qualifying JEE mains again, even after dropping a year. And again, I could not get into NIFTM. Now, fortunately, I had filled a form for a different university where food processing technology was provided. It was an integrated dual degree. And fortunately, I somehow qualified that examination. Just by luck, I got into that. I didn't really worked hard for that. So I got there. It was a new experience. I was really happy when I qualified the examination. I cried a lot. For the university where I finally got the admission, because I thought that okay, I'm worthy of something. Someone is finally accepting me at least. So that was a very emotional moment for me, because also for that specific entrance exam where I was selected, I got a rank of 7, like 07. So 7th rank amongst all the students who applied was a pretty big deal for me. So that was an emotional moment, and I was pretty happy. However, the past Areeb, the 2014 Areeb who got an admission, he was going to develop a lot of frustration in the coming years. Beginning of college was pretty interesting because that was the first time I was living away from my home. I was living in a hostel, and the hostel life, there's college life and then there's hostel life, and it was a new experience. I made interesting friends. My batchmates were pretty interesting, pretty funny. A lot of them were. We used to do a lot of stupid stuff in the college, in the hostel especially, and it was a great journey. It was, it was an amazing journey. Since I looked sincere, I used to wear these glasses, and I was good at communication skills. So probably that was the reason they made me the representative of class, like the CR of the class. Later I found that the job of the CR is to just bring in the markers and the dusters and just take the attendance. But anyway, for some reason the batchmates used to come to my room right before the exam, the mid-semester exam. Now this is the first time I'm experiencing something new. They are asking me doubts, they are asking me to explain a concept, they are asking me to solve a numerical. And I thought that why are they coming to me? Just let me study, yaar. I just want to study. I'm just a mediocre guy, because I had the mindset. I still had that kind of mindset that I'm mediocre. I cannot do things. But they were asking me questions that please help us solve it. And I taught them. I taught them English. I helped them with engineering, physics. I helped them with mathematics as well, with some subjects of food science as well. And for some reason, when the results of mid-semesters came out for the first semester, I had highest marks in class for engineering physics, and that came as a shock to me. I was shocked to see that how I was passing. I was getting passing grades in physics at one point in time, but how am I getting highest marks in physics? And this is engineering physics. This is pretty challenging. How am I getting highest grades in engineering physics all of a sudden? And that is when I realized that maybe I'm not mediocre. Maybe I can do things. Maybe I am intelligent. Maybe I have a brain. I have some kind of potential. Because still in 2014 I was kind of equating grades with intelligence, but still that was a source of confidence that I started to build up. And now I realized that not just in mid-semester, not just in first semester or first year, I was consistently getting good marks, and I was a consistent topper throughout the entire journey of my college. And I'm not trying to boast that. I'm trying to just tell you that even if you kind of get poor grades in college, it doesn't mean that you will never be able to do anything in life. Grades are never equal to your success. You have a brain, you have a potential. I didn't know that back then. Slowly and steadily, I started to build up my confidence. I started to participate in extracurricular activities. In the school as well, I loved extracurricular activities. I was the captain of my club, English Literary Club. And I used to take part in debates, whenever there was an event, I wanted to be the anchor of that event. And the same thing was in college as well. I wanted to anchor the events. I loved to speak at the events. So that's one thing. And I really enjoyed these kind of extracurricular activities. And these also boosted my experience. So slowly and steadily, I started to build my reputation in the college, in the entire university, that this is a dude who is also like a topper, but is also good at communication skills. He's also anchoring events and also taking part in the extracurricular activities. So yeah, I kind of started building a reputation, but I also was developing some kind of hate towards my university. A lot of people think that the channel Foodtech Simplified started in 2018, on August 6th, 2018 to be more precise. However, very few people, like only my batchmates, know that the idea of Foodtech Simplified was born in 2016, 2 years ago, and when it actually started. In 2014, since from 2014 to 2016, I realized that the college didn't have campus placements. There were no equipment, there were no industrial visits, and that's the thing. I quickly realized that we are on our own, the students are on our own, and we will have to do something different to stand out in the job market. Because I realized very quickly that we are going to face competition from NIFTM, we are going to face competition from probably from CFTRI or maybe IIT Kharagpur or ICT Mumbai or these premier colleges. And if we have to stand out from these colleges, we don't have a tag, but we have to build some kind of tag. And me and my batchmate, we thought about developing a website, and I thought a name about that, and the name was Foodtech Simplified. So we tried out different logos, and we finalized one logo for that. We purchased the hosting, we purchased the domain, we literally developed the website. I didn't know how to use WordPress, but I figured it out. I stayed awake for long periods of time to just figure out how to do WordPress, because there were tutorials, but I wasn't really able to understand that how do I actually figure this out, how do I build a website. So finally I figured it out, and we built a team. We had planned that we are going to put up tutorials for the students, and we are also going to ask some faculties to provide their guidance, and we are also going to write some blogs on that, and probably do some kind of collaborations, like a one-stop solution for the students and for the juniors, basically, so that we have some kind of, we have a tag, or we have a brand that is shining in our resume. Little did I know that we were actually thinking of building a personal brand, because whatever we were thinking, we were trying to fill a gap, we were trying to help someone through something that we were interested in. So we wanted to teach, and Foodtech Simplified was a way to do that. However, and we were actually planning to launch that on 16th of October, World Food Day. Things don't always go as planned, and it wasn't launched. World Food Day was clashed with the sports fest that's called Shaurya Utsav in our college. The dates were clashing for the sports event and for the World Food Day, and Shaurya Utsav is held at a very large scale. Our domain, our branch of food technology in the university is a very small branch, and that event, World Food Day, was very small when compared to Shaurya Utsav. And that is also when I started to hate my university even more, because I like sports, but I thought that my event is more important. We should focus on the website, because this is going to genuinely help at least the juniors. But that was dropped. We didn't pick it up for the next 2 years. All of us dropped it, because I think in the November or maybe in the October or November, holidays came up, and then in December there were exams, and life just got in our way. And you could also say that it wasn't our priority, but this is what it is. So we completely dropped the plan, and I started to build up frustration, more hate towards my university. There's a thing about humans. They are never completely satisfied. I started comparing my condition with the condition of other students, other friends. As you know that I had dropped a year, and most of my friends in the school were 1 year ahead. They were already starting to get internships. They were already starting to get the jobs. And I was there just watching them, and there was nothing in I couldn't see any ray of hope from the side of my university, of course. There were no proper facilities in the labs. The chemical bottles were empty. There were no equipment, no industrial visits, no campus placements. The food in the mess was trash. But I think that is, the food in the mess is always like trash. I started to hate the university more and more, and each day, each month, and with every passing second, you can say that I started to hate every single facility in my university. And that hate kind of blinded me to what I can do in my life. For some reason, I also started to hate people from NIFTM because they are having access to something that I don't have access to. I started to hate people from IIT. I started to hate a friend from DTU. For no reason. I know it sounds stupid, but back then I was immature. I was pretty stupid, and I started to hate these people for something they have and for something I don't have. On top of that, some of my batchmates said that यार बस 15-20-25 की नौकरी लग जा वो काफ़ी है. Like if I just get 15 or 20, 25,000 salary, that is enough for me. And I said that like you are spending your time here, you are spending a lot of money here, you're paying a lot of fees. Why do these people just want to get a 25,000 salary job? Why are they just focused on cracking a competitive examination? Why is no one thinking big, like leaving an impact or trying to do something larger than their life? And I also started to think that I have paid 1.5 lakhs. I mean, not me, but my father has paid 1.5 lakhs, and why are not we getting the facilities if we are paying such a huge fee in our university? That's all I started to think. And the thing is, I'm usually a calm person. I keep my composure all the times. However, there's always a limit to the people who stay calm. For example, you put a lot of pressure on a pressure cooker, you put a lot of heat on it, and you don't allow the steam to release. You don't provide any outlet for the steam to go off. Then sooner or later that pressure cooker will just blast. It will just disrupt everything. And that is what was going to happen with me in the coming year. During the early 2018, there was an inspection from UGC. So UGC is University Grants Commission, and they give accreditation like A grade, A plus grade, B, B plus, C. I don't know if someone got a C grade, but okay. They were going to have an inspection in our university, and after they completed an inspection of the entire university, they will provide us with a grade. They will give us a grade. I'm led to believe that the better the grade is, better it looks on the brochure of the university. For the inspection, preparations were in full swing, and the roads were completely clean, the mess was completely clean, and for some reason they started to provide better food in the mess. And out of the blue, we had never seen test tubes, a lot of test tubes or test tube stands in our lab. Out of the blue, we started to see these test tube stands in our lab, like जादू से कहीं से आ गई थी वो. Everything was running very smoothly right before, like 1 week before the inspection. And I was amazed to see that, okay, these people can actually run the college that way, but they are not choosing to do that consciously. They are doing this because of the inspection. And I do understand that if I was in their place, I would be probably like cleaning up or maintaining everything and just making sure that everything looks perfect, because whenever a guest is coming to your home, you try to do your best, you try to show your best. And especially if the guest is coming from, let's say, London or USA, then you try to prepare the best possible meal. If you used to serve a simple sweet, now you are going to serve a better sweet with saffron over it, right? So that's the thing that was going on with our university as well. There was one day, the last day of inspection, and on their last day they had decided that they will be interacting with the students. They will be asking the students about their experiences. And our head of the department back then, she called me basically, and she told me to assemble the best students from each batch of BTech, from the 2 batches of MSc and the 2 batches of MTech. So, and ask them to come to my office at so and so time. I have to give you some kind of brief. I said, okay, ma'am. So I assembled all of them, and we went to her office. And she said that, look, these are our guests, and you don't disclose your issues of home in front of guests. So try to portray the best possible picture of university in front of them, in front of the people who are coming from UGC, so that they give us the best possible grade. And we said okay, fine. But deep down I was thinking that if you really cared about getting the best possible grade, then you would be treating the university, the students or the faculties properly in the last 3-4 years, not just 1 week before the inspection. But okay, I get it. She called me because she thought that I'm a disciplined guy. I had a reputation. I was the topper. I was the class representative. So she thought that this is a very genuine person. This is a very disciplined, compliant person. So he would be the best person to represent our department, our food technology department. But little did she know that I already had a lot of frustration built up in me. And she didn't know that something is going to blast off during the experience, during the interaction with the UGC. So anyway, I started gathering all of them. I started gathering all the students from the respective batches of my department, and we went to a hall. There was a large hall. We went over there, and there were probably about 100-120 students, because from the entire university, from every batch, there were 2 representative students. So all the students from the university representing their specific batch, their specific domain. And in front of us, there were about 5 or 6 people sitting in front of us. They were representing UGC, of course, and they started to ask questions. Also, the doors were closed of these halls, because I think that the university staff was not allowed to enter or to even hear that what kind of conversation was going on, because this was supposed to be only a student and UGC conversation. I was just sitting there with one of my batchmates beside me, and some of my seniors were sitting in the rows behind us, and some of the juniors were sitting ahead of us, So they started asking questions, and as expected, a student stood up and he started saying good things about the university. Like, we are getting scholarships, the infrastructure looks beautiful. It actually looks beautiful, but and someone said that we have amazing facilities, so on and so forth, blah blah blah. And I was like, why, dude, why are you just sit down? I don't care. Just stop lying. There's no such thing. Like, I understand there are some good things, there are some good aspects of the university, but just don't. Why are you just saying all the positive things? And then I do understand that, because just like our head of the department told us to talk just the positive things in front of UGC, and that is what their head of departments or their professors would have told them, to just talk about the positive stuff in front of the UGC people. I was just waiting like a sniper to take an aim and to blow off every single thing. So after 3 or 4 students had spoken up, they asked that, okay, is there anyone else who would like to share their experience? Now, usually when I ask my students to raise their hands, I see them like raising their hands like this. But back then I wanted them to notice me, because I wanted to speak. I wanted to let my frustration out. I wanted to let my frustration of 4 years out in front of them, out in front of every single person. So I raised my hand like this, so that they clearly see it. I raised my hand high and strong, that, hey, look at me, I'm here, I want to speak, look at me. And since my hand was like, I'm a tall dude, I'm 6 feet dude, so they were clearly able to see my hand, and they said, yeah, okay, you get up. So I just got up, and I got up very calmly, like maintaining my composure, and I started speaking, or should I say rambling. So now I started speaking. Good afternoon, everyone. I am representing food processing technology domain. I am from BTech 4th year, and the facilities are actually quite worse here. They are promising us every year that there will be industrial visits, but there are no industrial visits. There are no proper facilities. There are no equipment in labs. There are no chemicals in bottle. Every year they say that they are going to bring in the equipment, but I have been noticing that for the last 3 or 4 years, and I am disappointed in their fake promises. There is no industrial exposure. I am a BTech student, and I am expected to understand the technology aspect, the application aspect. And how do you expect me to understand the theoretical part and not perform that in a lab when there are no equipment, when there is no industrial exposure? What am I expected to do with my degree if I just know the theoretical aspect of it? What am I supposed to do with the beautiful infrastructure of the university if I don't get a job after completing my BTech and MTech from this university? Our parents have invested their hard-earned money to pay the fee for us. And what am I going to tell them if I'm not able to get a job after this? How am I going to face them? Now at this point of time, I could sense a kind of vibe that was building up in the students. Their eyes were starting to light up all of a sudden, because they were seeing someone who was speaking their truth, speaking showing the reality in front of everyone. But talking about the truth has its own downsides. It was quite a long ramble. I cannot recall all of it, but I do remember as soon as I was sitting back on my seat, everyone was like kind of had their eyes were lit up, because more or less they also had a similar, maybe they had a similar hate towards the university. But that is basically how my volcano erupted. It was a long ramble, because I was holding all of that in the last 4 years, and now all of a sudden all of that had been erupted. But little did I know that there were repercussions of just rambling in front of UGC. Now, because of my long ramble, it also gave confidence to 2 or 3 more students, and they also started speaking in the same way. And I was just happy to see it. I said, yes, you should speak it, and you should just take down the university, just take down their system. When you're young, you kind of feel like a fighter, you kind of feel like a rebellion, because you are full of youthful energy, you are full of energy, and you want to like disagree with people, you want to take down people, that kind of energy. But these things have their own repercussions, these things have their own downsides. But anyway, my revenge was complete. I was now the hero in front of all these students, and but little did I know that my Heropanti was going to be, ripped off by one of the authorities in our college. There was going to be an event that would completely change my mindset, that would completely change the course of my life, and would eventually give rebirth to the idea of Foodtech Simplified. On Friday or Saturday, we also got a message from the HOD on our WhatsApp group that every student who went to that event, to the interaction with UGC, is requested to approach the office of Dean on Monday at so and so time. And I thought, damn, now we are done. We are going to be like scolded, or we are going to be probably suspended from the university, because of course, if I was in place of the dean or in place of the administrators of the university, I would be angry at the students who were speaking ill will about my university. Of course, I would be angry at them. And that was natural. That was a natural reaction. There was also college fest going on at that specific time. And there was one final event in the fest, and that event was delayed for some reason. Later, my batchmate told me that that event was delayed. It was delayed because the UGC was having an extended meeting with the administrators because they were discussing about a guy who rambled all the truth in front of them, and they were discussing that what is the matter, why is he speaking like that. And I said, yes, they should suffer now. They should suffer what they have done in the last 4 years or so. And although I was just having a kind of living my moment of revenge, but of course, as I said, this had a repercussion. 5th of February 2018. It was Monday. Bloody Khuni Monday. I still remember that day because this was going to be one of the most important day in my life. This would change the mindset of Areeb, of the Areeb who existed in 2018. This will completely change his mindset. This will completely change his perspective towards life, perspective towards growth. And after that day, a different Areeb came out. Like before making of the Captain America, that was a thin dude. Although he had that kind of potential, but he was a thin dude. And after that specific event, I am forgetting the name. And this is a shame for an Avenger fan that I'm forgetting the name of that particular event. But after that specific event, he came out like a buffed dude. He came out with superhuman ability, right? So that was the kind of moment, 5th of February 2018, that was the moment in my life when I became Captain America of my life. Not like in real life, but for my life at least. So my heart was really pounding that day. I do remember my hands were getting sweaty again and again, although that was the time of winter, February, but my hands were getting sweaty. And as we approached towards the office of the dean, my heart started pounding louder and louder, and I was thinking that I hope that other people don't hear my heart is pounding so heavily. HOD ma'am and Dean ma'am, both of them were sitting beside each other. I was accompanied by my seniors who went at the interaction and my juniors as well. So we just approached there, we were dead silent, and Dean asked us that, okay, tell us who was present at the interaction. Who spoke at the interaction? Silence. I said, who spoke at the interaction? It wasn't in a loud voice. So I slowly raised my hand. It was me. She asked my name. What's your name? Areeb Irshad. What? For some reason they never get the pronunciation of my name. So I spelled it. AREEBIRSHAD. Who do you think you are? And with that question, she started scolding. And it wasn't like a casual scold, of course. I mean, if you have taken down the reputation of the entire university, so you can imagine the kind of scolding that guy is going to get. And she started. Who do you really think you are? Do you have any idea what you have done? Who told you to speak like that in front of UGC? Do you speak like that in front of your guest? I mean, there's a difference between guest and UGC, but I cannot do anything, so I'm just listening silently. We specifically asked you not to speak ill will of the university. And what have you done? While pointing at the HOD ma'am, she asked that, is this your brilliant student? Is this the student you say that he's a decent student? I don't think so. And while pointing at everyone who was standing beside me, she asked them that, why didn't you stop him? Why didn't all of you stop him when he was talking like that? And I was thinking that why would have they stopped me, because probably they were feeling the same thing that I was feeling back then. She said that you are staying in this college, but you could have worked hard and got an admission in a different college if you wanted to, but no, you are staying in this college and you want to take this college down as well. Now, until this sentence, I had my calm and composure look, and I was just standing there. I was embracing all the arrows like a Spartan, and I was very calm. And I didn't react at all. I was silent. Until this moment, until she said this sentence, and now she started to hit the vulnerable part of my ego. By first year, you must have known that what kind of college this is. But you still didn't prepare for another college, and you could have dropped out of this college and taken admission somewhere else. But you didn't do that. You know why? Because you are not capable. You are here, you are still studying here because you could not qualify for any other college. Now that I look back, I think she was right. I think she had a point because I could have taken admission somewhere else if I wanted to, but really I was just complaining and cribbing about what I didn't have. But back then, like in 2018, whatever she was saying, like that was kind of a dagger to my heart. My eyes were slowly turning red, and eyes were not turning red because of her scolding, because she was scolding me. I mean, I can take that, but my eyes were turning red because what she was saying had some element of truth in that. I was getting angrier with her every single word. But anyway, she continued scolding me, and she said that, you know what, students like you are a disgrace to the society. And I said, stop it, Dean, don't say anything else now. We could have got the accreditation, but because of you, we are not going to get the accreditation. And maybe if we had a great accreditation, we could have managed to get some kind of equipment in our labs as well. You know what? You are danger to the society. The society should not let you go out And you know what? When the UGC says that the university got this accreditation, I'm going to send that to your parents, to your home, so to tell them that देखिए आपके बेटे ने क्या किया है. Just look at what your son has done. And I was getting furious with every sentence. And she said a sentence that I can never forget. And she said that, I doubt that what kind of upbringing you had. That was the moment when that was a very frustrating moment for me, because I could not say anything at that point of time, but I was also crying in the inside, because that is the most humiliating sentence. I mean, you can say anything to me, you can abuse me, you can say anything to me, but to my parents, my upbringing, that was really harsh and that was very brutal. And but I was standing there. I couldn't do anything to control my anger. I was just just clenching my fist this way, so that I don't do anything harsh, or I don't say anything, because that was a moment I knew that I had crossed the limit, so I had to stay silent. But anyway, I think the ramble continued for about half an hour, or probably 45 minutes. And then finally she said, okay, you can leave now. And when we were starting to leave, she said that देखो तो कोई शर्म भी नहीं है कि sorry बोल दे. Basically, that see, he doesn't even think that it's okay to apologize. So I said, apologies for what? Apologies for what? Saying the truth, or talking about the reality? Because if you really cared, if someone genuinely cared about the university, they would be providing the facilities from day one, not 1 week before the inspection. But okay, I'm very powerless right now, and I cannot say anything. So I was just standing there. So again she said, okay, now you can leave. I didn't say sorry. I still didn't say sorry. So now I came out. I was controlling my anger, I was controlling my tears right now. I went out, I switched off my phone, because I knew that someone would call me. I didn't want them to disturb me at that point. And I kept walking. Of course, in the university campus, not outside the university. I started walking, and for the first time I didn't know where I am trying to go. I just started walking. I didn't have any kind of direction. I just started walking on the road for some reason. And I realized that all that time, all in those last 5 years, I was just liking the idea of success, but not actually taking action for it. I was just watching Sandeep Maheshwari's motivational videos, and I don't mean to I'm not trying to attack anyone. I'm not trying to attack the Dean or Sandeep Maheshwari or anyone else in this video. I'm just saying that I was trying to get the external motivation, but external motivation doesn't work. But this moment, this point of time was something that I was humiliated. I was I was shown a mirror, and this is when I knew that I have found my reason. I have found the thing that will motivate me, that will generate the fire in me. Anyway, I started walking, and I think I went to a shopping complex. So the college is at one point, and if you want to reach the shopping complex of our university, that you have to cover a 15-minute walking distance. I didn't have any scooty or cycle or bike back then. Still don't have. So I started walking. I went there, and I was thinking that now I'm going to prove her wrong. I'm going to become something huge, and I'm going to become something, and I'm going to take revenge again. I knew this was stupid, but now I realize that revenge is stupid. I'm not trying to do this to make a channel or make a video to prove anyone wrong. She was right at her place. She was doing her job. If I was at her place, I would have done the same thing. So don't have any kind of hate against the university. Don't try to have any kind of hate against the dean or HOD or whatever it is. Okay, I'm just talking about what I was feeling back then. Okay, so I started walking towards the shopping complex. Over there, you can have food or snacks, and there's stationery shop as well. So there was Aman Bhaiya, and I asked Aman Bhaiya, the shopkeeper of the shop, I asked him to give me one pastry, a packet of chips, and one fruity, 10 rupees fruity. So I was having a little party by myself, and you might think that he was just scolded and he was just humiliated in front of his seniors and in front of his juniors. He has his reputation and he was kind of ripped off. Then why is he having some kind of a little party by himself? And the reason was because now finally I knew that the source of my motivation, finally I had the reason that why I have to work hard to have the choices in my life. Now I knew that I have to work hard so that no one questions my upbringing. Anyway, I started eating that pastry. I started having that little party by myself. And for the first time in 4 years, I realized that I didn't bring my wallet. I didn't have the money. So, but Aman Bhaiya knew me. He's a kind person. He had known me for the last 4 years. So he said that, okay, you can pay later. I know you will pay. So I said, okay, thank you. I came back to my hostel and I decided that I'm going to prepare for ICER net. However, that goal was changed later onwards. But now I knew my reason. I knew that what I have to do. I knew the source of my motivation. I forgot to add one detail, and one detail when I was walking and I looked at, okay, आसपास कोई तो है तो नहीं, and that is when I let my tears out because I didn't really want to show my emotions. So that's when I started crying, and that was kind of a weird psycho moment because I was crying but I was also smiling. I don't know if you can relate to it, but that was a pretty weird moment in my life when you're smiling but you're also crying at the same point in time. That was a very mixed emotions at the same point of time. Later I met my friends, my batchmates, and I told them the entire story. Some of them said that you did the right thing. Some of them said that you crossed the line, you shouldn't have said that. And I will leave that up to your judgment, whether I should have done that or I shouldn't have spoken like that in front of the UGC. But I think if I hadn't spoken at that point in time, if I wasn't scolded by the dean, I don't think I would have the fire to think something different and to do something of my own, to do something with my life, and then eventually start Foodtech Simplified. And later I remember that I wrote that why this university was your only choice. I stick that on my wall, and not only I stick that in my wall in my room, but I also wrote that on a small piece of paper, and I kept that in my wallet so that I see that every day. There was no running away from this specific thing, so that I'm reminded that because of my actions I ended up in this university, and I want to work so hard so that I have options in my life. I want to work so hard so that no one can question my upbringing. That is why I want to work hard. And when anyone used to come to my room, any batchmate who used to come to my room, and when they saw that there was one sticker sticking on the wall saying that why this university was your only choice, so they used to ask me, ये क्यों लगाया? Why have you written that on your wall? So I said that याद दिलाने के लिए ताकि मैं क्यों मेहनत कर रहा हूँ. Basically to remind myself that why I have to work hard and why am I working hard right now as well. And later in 2018, the idea of Foodtech Simplified, it was a rebirth for the idea of Foodtech Simplified, and I started the channel once again. I posted the video, and as you know that I started it and I continued it for the last 3 years. Now earlier in 2018 I wanted to take revenge from the dean, but now I realize that revenge is a stupid thing. I was stupid back then, and I shouldn't have done that. But I do realize that if I didn't get a scolding, if I was not shown the mirror by the dean, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be talking to so many people. I wouldn't have got into FSSAI. I wouldn't have created such an impact in front of you who is watching this video right now. And you know what? I'm actually thankful that the things have turned out that the way they have turned out, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that particular event in my life. And I think, you know what? Maybe you have to go through some kind of humiliation, or maybe it's good that you have to go through some kind of struggle because it makes you stronger. These kind of things, like in that moment of time, it feels like a dagger to your heart when someone is humiliating you or when someone is showing you the mirror. But believe me, this is the best thing that can happen if you take it in a positive way, if you take a positive lesson from that particular event. I get so many messages from the students who are saying that, sir, we have no placements, we don't have any industrial visits, we are not getting any internships, we don't have any proper labs, equipment, whatever it is. And I start smiling because I see myself in these people, in these students, because I was at their place. But And now I realize that back then, if I just realize that I have so much to do, I have the potential, I have the strength of communication, I can learn YouTubing, I can do something that is completely in my control. Then why are you not focusing on what you can control? There is always something that you have that you can do irrespective of your conditions. There's a quote from Batman Begins when Bruce Wayne says that people need a dramatic example to shake them out of apathy. But I think that you don't necessarily always have to go through some kind of dramatic example like I have gone through or Bruce Wayne has gone through, because it's not always learning from your own mistakes, but you can also learn from others people's mistake. And that is the kind of mistake that I was doing. I was not trying to focus on what I had. I was just focused. I was just had a tunnel vision. I was just focusing on what I didn't have. We kind of have a narrow vision when we are just focused on the things that we cannot control. And that is why I always guide people that you have to focus on what you have, and you always have something. You are watching this video. If you are watching this video, you have a smartphone, or maybe you have a laptop, you have a PC. But if you don't even have some kind of resources, you have your own mind, you have your hands, you have your body and soul. You, my dear friend, you have a gift, you have some kind of potential in you. There is no other Karan Singh Bisht in this world. There is no other Sachin Deoli in this world. There is no other Siddhant Bahuguna in this world. There is no other you. You have a specific gift. You have a specific strength. Then why would you focus something that you don't have? Why would you try to spend energy on something that you cannot control? Why are you not doubling down on your own strength? Why are you not utilizing your own gift? You are much more than just cracking a competitive examination. And don't get me wrong, qualifying a competitive examination is important, but there is much more than that you can do. You have the potential to impact a lot more people than just qualifying a competitive exam, than just going for a job. Why are you limiting yourself? Why are you limiting to what society expects from you? I was about to give up on the idea of Foodtech Simplified. But you know what? I'm not going to stop until I see one of you people who build their own brand and who exceed your brand and make a bigger brand than what I currently have. I'm not giving up on my dreams. And I hope that you won't give up on your dreams as well. I will see you next time.